Welcome to Wildcard Wednesday, our favorite day of the week. We're going to roll you some great sound, let you hear some of the best stuff you may have missed or just need to hear again. You're going to want to stay tuned till the end because we're going to play a little ditty for you that was produced in Canada. And all of our hockey-loving Americans are going to adore this. It is so damn funny. But we're going to put it at the end so you can decide if you want to listen to it all the way through or not. I started to listen to it last night and I thought, oh my gosh, I can't stop. This is so funny. It's terrific. So stick around for that. In the meantime, please subscribe. We'd love to have you as a guest of ours, as part of the family, right? Every single episode. So please just hit that subscribe button, whether you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Rumble, YouTube. Please subscribe so you never miss an episode. You help keep us afloat, so thank you for that. Leave us a review, whatever you want, but just hit that subscribe. We're going to start today in a little bit of holiday Grinch spirit. I'm going to give you a little morsel to start you off. Tim Walz, who unsuccessfully ran for vice president alongside Kamala Harris. He's still the governor of Minnesota. And he's damaged goods. That is for sure. And his wife, Gwen, might be part of the reason why. Gwen Walz was a little bit annoying on the campaign trail to most people who watched her and observed. And I guess she got a little bit annoying to Tim Walz as well when they did this little Christmas video together. Don't blink. This is short, but it's amusing. Roll it, John.
Oh, Dad got it on there. Joy to the world.
All right.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Oh, it's funny. It's funny. She just gets one verse out of her mouth and he's like, okay, I'm stopping the camera. Enough. So yeah, I'm, part of me, a very little part of me feels bad for Tim Walz, but not that bad because he would have been terrible for America. He's been terrible for Minnesota. So hello, darkness, my old friend. Okay, we're going to move on to one of my favorite senators of all time, John Kennedy of Louisiana. So Charlie Baker, the president of the NCAA, was on Capitol Hill yesterday to talk about a number of things: sports gambling, the betting, how it's impacting students and the integrity of the game, but also to talk about one of the hot button issues in all athletics, high school as well, and even the pros now. And that is transgender women competing against biological women in sports. Notice again, I'll underscore this like I do every time. We never talk about transgender men competing against men, meaning biological women who now identify as men tend not to go compete against other men in sports. I wonder why that is. But the other direction, it's happening more than you know. So this is a few minutes, but John Kennedy never disappoints. So we're going to roll it for you. Here we go, John.
The NCAA exists in part to promote fair competition in collegiate sports, does it not? Could you speak into the mic for me?
Yes.
Okay. A transgender woman is a biological male. Is that correct?
Yes.
And a biological male is always going to have a physical and a physiological advantage competing in a collegiate sport against a biological female. Isn't that true?
There's not a lot of research on it, but it's certainly debatable.
You think it's debatable?
I think it's debatable.
You don't think? Think that a biological male has an advantage every time competing against a biological female? Is that your testimony?
No, I think defined the way you defined it, yes, I would agree with you.
So you agree with me?
Yes.
Okay. So why does the NCAA, why do you, your job is to promote fairness in collegiate sports. Why do you support allowing transgender women who are biological males to compete against non-transgender biological females?
Over the course of the past 2 years, 5 federal court cases involving this question. Let me finish. 5 federal judges have all sided with participation as the standard. This is a very...
So you're saying you don't have a choice?
I'm saying that under the current dynamic, there is not clarity on this issue legally.
Well, why don't you exhibit leadership and demonstrate leadership and provide clarity? If you agree with me,
well, first of all,
that the purpose of the NCAA is to promote fair competition, and if you agree with me that in every single instance, a biological male is going to have an unfair advantage over a biological female, then why don't you just say, look, in America you can be whomever you want to be, but in terms of fair competition in a collegiate sport, transgender women who are biological males are not going to be allowed to compete against non-transgender women who are biological female. Boom, done. Why don't you go to Amazon and buy a spine online and take a stand?
You know, there are certain things I'm glad I lived to see. I'm glad I lived to see Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, all the great quarterbacks, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. I'm glad I lived to see Tiger Woods, all these great athletes. I'm glad I lived in the era of John Kennedy in Louisiana. The senator provides the best entertainment in the Senate, period, the end. Why don't you go to Amazon and buy a spine? Thank you, John Kennedy. All right. I've told you about my friends at besthotgrill.com. If you're still looking for that last minute holiday gift, this is the one. It's this little mini Solaire that is lightweight, portable. You can take it to tailgating, take it on fishing trips, take it on the RV. The Solaire, little anywhere, everywhere, and all about grill. It's going to make you the master of the tailgater, the master of the picnic. These are infrared grills that set up and heat up really fast. It takes like 3 minutes to get to searing hot temperatures, just like the big backyard Solaires, which you may want to investigate as well. These are USA made, Solaire anywhere, everywhere, and all about infrared grills, and they're perfect for grilling on the go. I'm talking about picnics, camping, RVs, boating, and always tailgating. So amaze your friends with the great food that you grill. I'm telling you, I have one of these Solaire grills. This Solaire infrared grill, it is easy, it is fast, and it makes the best grilled food. And I'm talking to everything from burgers to steaks to chicken to vegetables. You can do a try before you buy demo rental program at besthotgrill.com, besthotgrill.com. Put it under the tree for your favorite griller. besthotgrill.com, besthotgrill.com. All right, we're going to move to the Duke lacrosse case. If you haven't heard, and you probably have, those Duke players, those 3 captains that had their names dragged through the mud. Mike Nifong, who was disbarred in North Carolina because he withheld evidence, DNA evidence that would have corroborated these young men. This case was a national story, potentially international story, of 3 young men at Duke, so obviously an elite school, being accused of rape by a black stripper that they hired for a party. Well, this week she went on a podcast. Now, we know that these 3 young men were exonerated. They all had to change schools. I mean, it upended their lives, right? And this woman who accused them was later found guilty of murdering her ex-boyfriend, fiance, the man she was involved with. She's in jail, in prison, serving that term. And apparently has had a sort of a come to Jesus moment. She went on a podcast and she said this.
I testified falsely against them by saying that they raped me when they didn't. And that was wrong. And I betrayed the trust of a lot of other people who believed in me. And made up a story that wasn't true because I wanted validation from people and not from God. And that was wrong when God already loved me for who I was, regardless. I didn't need to seek validation from him because I already had validation from him. I just didn't know it. And I hurt my brothers. And I hope that they can forgive me. And I want them to know that I love them. And they didn't deserve that. And I hope they can forgive me. And that I hope that they can heal and trust God and know that God loves them and that God is loving them through me, letting them know that they're valuable and that they didn't deserve that.
Well, 20 years later, I don't know that this gave any extra satisfaction to anyone. It may have just a little bit to have this person finally confess that she lied about all of this. But lives were upended. I think what's so damaging about this is it's damaging to women who actually are violated, who are legitimately raped. And, you see people wearing T-shirts or making the proclamation, "Believe all women." But she's given us reason to doubt some women. And, we tend to believe women because they have been maybe marginalized in the past. And those who believe that the patriarchy is in charge and it's got to be brought down. So all men who are accused must be brought down and the women who accuse them must be believed. That's not the case. And we need to acknowledge that. And we need to treat each individual case separately and uniquely. Just as we need to treat each individual human separately and uniquely. Stop putting everyone into boxes, into categories, into groups, and start treating humans as the individuals that they are. This categorical believe all women. And where are the women's groups now coming out and saying this was so wrong? They're nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. It's sad. What's not sad is this feeling in America that things might be getting better all of a sudden. And that maybe Trump isn't Hitler. Maybe, after all, Trump's going to do some of the things he said he's going to do and make us safer and more prosperous. I'm talking about everyone. Again, can you categorize people? Well, in this case, we all live in the borders of the United States of America, over which this administration, is going to legislate, help legislation along, etc., serve, because we hire them and we pay their salaries, so we should have expectations. But Van Jones of CNN has finally admitted that maybe Trump isn't a doofus and isn't dumb and is, in fact, smarter than all of us. This is cut number 4. John, go ahead and roll it.
How the hell did Donald Trump figure out the mainstream media is the fringe and the fringe is now the mainstream? How the hell did Donald Trump figure out? I mean, Joe Rogan is obvious, right? Like, we knew the guy had a big audience. It's not like we were stunned, but how the hell was he, the 78-year-old guy who doesn't even have a computer and still writes handwritten notes? How did he become the guy who cracked the code on, to your point, running a cultural, I don't even want to say campaign, running
it was a movement.
Look, heading a cultural movement versus a campaign.
Every one of your people knows Elon. Listen, Yeah, so I mean, everybody keeps. I mean, the problem is you have a framework in your mind that how can Donald Trump? How can Donald Trump? How can Donald Trump? Guys, can we cut it out? Donald Trump is not an idiot. Donald Trump. Let me just be very clear. Donald Trump is smarter than me, you, and all critics. You know why we know? Because he has the White House, the Senate, the House.
Totally agree.
Court, the popular vote. He has a massive media ecosystem bigger than the mainstream built around him and for him, and a religious fervor in a political movement around him. And his best buddy is the richest person in the history of the world, and the most relevant Kennedy is with him. This dude is a phenomenon. He is the most powerful human on earth and in our lifetime. And we're still saying, well, how was this guy? We look like idiots to ordinary people.
You're totally right.
Okay. Yeah. Might want to take some notes. It's really interesting to me. I had shoulder surgery recently. Both my shoulders have been replaced. And the guy who did the job is phenomenal. Phenomenal. And my PT said to me, it's amazing to me that other surgeons don't go to him and say, what is it that you do differently that we can learn from? And I think it's ego and hubris. Like the other side doesn't. Van Jones just admitted Donald Trump is smart. Yeah, little bit. And I think it's stubbornness and hubris from the other side that keeps people from acknowledging that and saying, what can we learn from this? By the way, it wasn't just Elon. We got to give the credit to Barron Trump as well, who directed his father in a number of positive ways. So there is that. And Trump was smart enough to listen. Okay. So I love that. I love that bite. And Trump has always been pretty smart about the media and suggesting that the media, he called them an enemy of the people because they have been caught in dishonest narratives so often. And so here's Donald Trump at a recent press conference. He's already holding them, where a reporter asks a question about preemptively striking Iran. Now, think about that for a minute and listen to Trump's interchange with this reporter. This is cut number 6. John, go ahead.
Against Iran's nuclear facilities.
Well, I can't tell you that. I mean, it's a wonderful question, but how can am I going to do preemptive strikes? Why would I say that? Can you imagine if I said yes or no? You'd say, that was strange that he answered that way. Am I going to do preemptive strikes on Iran? Is that a serious question? How could I answer a question like that? Say it.
Would you be in support of Israeli strikes on Iran?
How could I tell you?
Same answer. Ditto. See previous answer. It's brilliant. It's fun to listen to this back and forth. And I feel as though this presidency is starting, I think everyone's saying this, so much differently than his 2017 presidency started. For one thing, you've got a guy in the Oval. Well, actually, he's in Delaware as of now. Joe Biden, who refuses to do anything presidential at the moment, except pardon people that he doesn't know that he's pardoning, and pardoning people that they later say, oh, we should have vetted that more. Sorry. So that's where Biden is. So there's this like vacuum of leadership, and Trump is stepping in right now to fill it, which is fine with a lot of people. So Trump is filling that vacuum with a little bit of certainty where there is a lot of uncertainty in the world. And I know you feel it. We all feel it. Prices are up. Markets unpredictable. We're hearing those whispers about World War III. And like many of you, I've wanted to understand how to prepare my portfolio for these turbulent times, which led me to learn more about American independence gold. Gold and silver have historically stood the test of time through wars, recessions, and market crashes. They're not just investments. They represent stability and peace of mind for families like mine. And right now, I'm holding a gold bar from American Independence Gold in my hands. It's real, it's heavy, and it could be yours when you open a gold IRA with $10,000 or more. American Independence Gold. is a veteran-owned company that supports our military families and first responders. Plus, they cover custodial fees for life on qualifying accounts. Take your first step toward diversifying your portfolio today with American Independence Gold. Here's how. Text the word GOLD to 717767 for a free investment guide. Text GOLD to 717767. Discover how gold and silver could fit into your portfolio with American Independence Gold. Text GOLD to 717767 now. All right, back to Trump and the media. Trump is really understanding how to use the media, which media for him, and how to call out the media when it is dishonest. And just because someone is in the media doesn't make them an honest broker. And that's too bad. Now, if you're watching a news show, an evening news show, you ought to be able to trust what is presented to you. But there are errors of commission and errors of omission. What newscasts decide to leave out of their presentations say something about their values and priorities. And what they decide to focus on say what they prioritize and value. So people like to believe that news is objective, that there's just news and it's this category and it's going to be presented to you fairly. I don't know that that's ever been the case. You go back into American history and these pamphlets and newspapers and periodicals always produced editorial things and things that weren't necessarily honest. Well, George Stephanopoulos, you know, remember, this guy isn't just with ABC. He started as the press secretary for Clinton, for Bill Clinton. Well, he's a big Bill and Hillary Clinton fan. And we're going to show you now a side-by-side of George Stephanopoulos when he looks like he's 12 in the first part, where he defends Bill Clinton in spite of the fact that Clinton, remember, was accused of rape, was accused of sexual harassment, all kinds of things. We know about Monica Lewinsky, which Clinton tried to hide. So Stephanopoulos was willing to step up and be the defender of Clinton then. But when it came to Trump, not so much. It's obviously political. Watch this side by side.
Governor Clinton has a character problem, but I take it that your line of counterattack is that it's well, I mean, he has not denied that he has engaged in marital infidelity.
Bill Clinton's passed his character test throughout his life and throughout this campaign. And he's shown it through his commitments to real fights. And what he's going to do in this campaign is focus on what's important to the American people, on the jobs and the education. That's what the American people care about.
Why are you supporting someone who's been found liable for rape? Well, actually, what you're doing is defending a man who's been found liable for rape. I don't understand how you can do that. So you're comfortable with Donald Trump being found liable for rape?
Okay, the reason we edited out Nancy Mace's answers to his questions there, he's challenging Nancy Mace in that interview, and he's saying the words liable for rape. Now, remember that E. Jean Carroll case against Trump was done in civil court, not criminal court. So Donald Trump sued ABC and George Stephanopoulos, saying, you called me a rapist, which has never been proven in criminal court that I'm a rapist. So the interesting part here to observe is George Stephanopoulos stepping up for Bill Clinton, who did have and does have a character issue, and saying he's focused on the problems American people are interested in. But when it comes to Donald Trump, just flipping his script. Now, Trump sued ABC and George Stephanopoulos and won a $15 million settlement and an apology from ABC News. That's pretty remarkable. What this says is that now this was settled out of court, so this was not a judgment against ABC, but clearly ABC News felt it was worth $15 million and an apology, a public apology from a news entity to say we were wrong. We should not have said he was liable for rape. Now, reportedly, George Stephanopoulos is livid, and so are others in the media. They, too, are livid. This was discussed between Jim Acosta, no fan of Trump, and Brian Stelter on CNN. Let's listen to them discussing the outcome of this case.
Just not the case. But I just feel, and I wonder how you feel about that aspect of all of this. I mean, to me, it seems this is a time for our industry to stand firm. And we're going to have a very important job to do. And that's not putting us on a pedestal or anything like that, but we're going to have a very important job to do because Trump is not going to change his ways when he gets back in the Oval Office. He's going to continue to say things that need to be fact-checked. And you can't have the news industry worrying about this sort of stuff when they're just simply doing their jobs.
Well, if some bend the knee, others have to stand up straighter. You know, the former Time magazine editor Richard Stengel said this morning, Trump has sued dozens of publications and media outlets in the past, trying to, quote, intimidate the press into self-censorship, not to actually win any particular case. He did win in this case with a big payment, but that broader concern about self-censorship is one that I know many viewers and readers are worried about. And ultimately, that's Jim, right. As you know, we work for them. We work for the viewers, not that's for anybody else.
That's right. All right, Brian Stelter, thank you very much. We appreciate it. We'll be right back.
You work for the viewers. You work for clicks. You work for money. You're not a public servant. You like to think that you are. And Jim Acosta is saying, we're going to have a job to do. You always have a job to do. When was the last time you fact-checked Kamala Harris? When was the last time you fact-checked Joe Biden? When was the last time you fact-checked Alejandro Mayorkas about the border? Those things seem to never get fact-checked. But every word that comes out of Trump's mouth, bloodbath, all the rest, gets quote-unquote fact-checked. This is purely political. And I love Stelter saying, where some bend the knee, others have to stand up straighter. Oh, you've got virtue, boy. You've got spine. I'm making fun of this because it's a little embarrassing. There is a massive double standard, and people can see it. And that's why they've walked away so often from CNN and from MSNBC, because the double standard is so obvious. So this is really interesting. And clearly ABC must have thought it was not going to win in court. They didn't stand up for this moment of Stephanopoulos calling Trump a rapist. They did not stand up for it. And some people think they could have won in court. I guess one of those people is Chuck Todd. This is cut number 10. Chuck Todd called this a gut punch to the media. Go ahead and roll it.
This was stunning to me, and absolutely a gut punch to anybody that works at a major media company, because I think it does sets a precedent that is going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult to get out from under potentially. I just, I think the risk of losing this suit was 5%.
Right.
Like 50%.
For ABC.
For ABC. So, this was a decision to buy off a bad PR.
Or it was a decision to say we shouldn't have called him a rapist over and over and over again. They say that Trump has filed a lot of lawsuits. He rarely wins. This is a rarity. So I don't take this as a gut punch. What this is a reminder to the media to not self-censor. I am the biggest free speech advocate on the planet. But you can't just say whatever you want to say because it suits your narrative. Listen, every news outlet on the planet wants clicks, wants viewers, wants money, wants advertisers. That's why they exist. They can tell you they want to serve the public, but they have so often misserved or disserved the public that it's amusing to hear them say that. It truly is. All right, so that's that. I want to get onto Canada. What's going on in Canada is fascinating to me. But first, before we do that, we want to tell you how to sleep better. And I believe in this product, and I've told so many people about this product. It is called Sleep Cream. Sleep, CREME. I use this stuff, and it has helped me sleep better, period, the end. And I feel good about it because it's all natural. I let my 2 teenagers use it. It's not a drug. It's not a prescription. It's a cream. And I just apply it at bedtime. I was a skeptic. I get that you would be too, but I tried it and I was amazed. It really works. I sleep great. Sleep Cream uses this all natural CBD combined with fine essential oils that smell really good. So I'll like put it on the insides of my wrists, the insides of my forearms and elbows, maybe around my feet. Do that right at bedtime. And then I'm relaxed and my body is allowed to do what it needs to do, which is sleep. Find them at sleepcream.com, sleep, CREME.com. Use it for a couple nights. See if it works for you like it does for me. And if you don't experience better sleep, Sleep Cream will refund your purchase, guaranteed. You don't have to return anything. Go to sleepcream.com, sleep, CREME.com. And for the next few weeks, use the code GAMEDAY at checkout to get free standard shipping on your order. Game Day, all one word, Game Day, and you'll get that free standard shipping. If you're ready for your best sleep ever, go to sleep, CREME.com. I think you'll be happy. All right, before I get to Canada, here's another quick little holiday treat for you. Ketanji Brown Jackson, the Supreme Court Justice, had a dream of performing on Broadway. And like Make-A-Wish, a Broadway show came through and invited her to perform. I'll give you a glimpse of that now. Here is cut number 12, Ketanji Brown Jackson on Broadway.
Female empowerment. Sick. I like it too. I think what I like about it is that I am having a very strongly negative reaction to it. Like I hate it. Which makes me think it must be brilliant. Got this feeling in my body. Can't stop the feeling. Got this feeling in my body. I can't stop the feeling. I did it. I made it to Broadway.
Well, you know, good for her. I'm asking myself right now, because I grew up in California wanting to be an actress. Would I, if given a chance, it would depend on the show, I think. Would you, if you were given a chance to do something like that you'd always dreamed of, would you do it? Even if you were a Supreme Court justice? Does it make her look silly in any way? Probably not silly. It's odd, but it's the holiday spirit I'm feeling. You go, Ketanji. You go, Justice Brown Jackson. All right, Canada. Here we go. Pierre Poilievre is running for Prime Minister in Canada. People are asking Justin Trudeau to just resign. Things are going so poorly in Canada. And he's a fool. He recently said that America missed another opportunity by not voting a woman for president. So I guess what he's expecting us to do is just vote in any old woman because, you know, he's all about the feminine. The future is feminine. Whatever. How about competency? He certainly doesn't seem to be demonstrating that. So this is where Pierre Poilievre comes in, and he has spoken about the government collapse in Canada. And this is a beautiful thing. This is a guy to watch. He has been brilliant with the media. Let's just go ahead and roll cut 14.
Mr. Speaker, just to underline the chaos we're faced with here, the finance minister resigned the day she was to present the fall budget, which was going to contain a massive deficit overrun. The job then went automatically to the industry minister, who immediately resigned, like on the spot, which then went down the line, and the next person in order was the famous two Randys. And they're not available to do the job either. We're now less than 2 hours away from the fall economic update. Why won't the Prime Minister have the courage to come in here, present it himself, and put it for a confidence vote tonight?
You know, maybe Justin Trudeau needs to go to Amazon and buy a spine and go stand up in front of them and present the budget. It's an interesting time in Canada with the resignation of that director and apparently another one right afterward. It's fascinating. And so that's how we're going to leave you today. But first, I want to tell you something before I play this freaking hilarious song for you. I want to remind you that we've got an offering for the presidential inauguration. So January 20th is the day, and Washington, D.C. is the place. That's when and where Donald Trump will be inaugurated as the 47th president of the United States. And we want to send you there. You can win a once-in-a-lifetime VIP experience to attend the inauguration in Washington, D.C., including airfare for you and a guest to Washington, a 3-night stay in the nation's capital, tickets for the presidential inauguration, and much more. Don't miss this extraordinary opportunity to celebrate the greatness, history, and excitement of a presidential inauguration. I wish I could go. To enter, see the link in our show notes for this episode or go to salempodcastnetwork.com/Trump. That's salempodcastnetwork.com/Trump. And with that, with the changing of leadership here in the United States, we're keeping an eye on our northern neighbors as well, and Justin Trudeau. And one of the reasons he may get ousted is because he never played the national sport. He never played hockey, and that alone may disqualify him for ever being politically affiliated in Canada again, according to this wonderful song, which I got to say is brave and is doing good, like we always ask people to do, be brave and do good. And this should make you laugh. Here we go.
Justin Trudeau wants you to know that he never played hockey. Justin Trudeau has got to go. It's damn clear he never played hockey. Totalitarian parliamentarians, they have no mind to skate. Their only love, their hate. They'll freeze your bank account. The Mounties, they won't mount to trample on your rights like Fidel. Justin Trudeau is rather slow. It's too bad he never played hockey like the great one. This potato has got to go and get someone who played hockey. He likes to arrest Jews while wearing tailor shoes. The blackface Bolshevik would never last one shift. He wouldn't shake your hand after a 7th game. He has no honor code like Ty Domi and Bob Probert. Oh, Canada, he's not part of a team. He's wimpy and he's mean. He's the emergency, the true north, strong and free. He never ate a puck. He doesn't give a truck. A Gordie Howe hat trick, the thought wouldn't make him sick. If he just scored one goal, his heart would have a soul and understand assists are more than shots that miss. And no humility, freedom, liberty, it's more than just a game. God save us. Justin Trudeau wants you to know he never played hockey like the great one. Justin Trudeau has got to go. Get someone who played hockey.